I am Dr. Suparna Biswas from Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology, West Bengal. This video lecture is on Computer Network, Introduction and Overview, Module 1. This lecture is going to cover these topics: Computer Network Definition, Basic Building Blocks or Components of a Computer Network, Network Topology, Communication Directions between Sender and Receiver, Types of Network based on Covered Area, Layered Models, Challenges associated with computer networks, some advanced networks examples, sample questions, followed by references for detailed study. Now, what is a network? Nodes connected with links. Now, node is a device having computation and communication ability, and links are wired or wireless type and can connect nodes or computers or devices. Here the figures show that desktop computers are connected with wired links, where a smartphone and a laptop is connected through wireless link. Here desktop computers are of same category, same type, so this network is homogeneous network. And the second example, the two nodes are of different kinds, hence this is a heterogeneous network. Now if we try to define computer network, then computer network is consisting of a set of computing nodes interconnected through wired or wireless links so that computation, information transmit and receive, data and resource sharing can be done with efficiency. And the wired links can be cable and wireless links can be internet 3G or 4G, short range communication technologies such as Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee, etc. Now whenever we are going to familiarize with computer network, then obviously we should know what are the basic building blocks or components of a computer network. First of all, nodes, devices that can exchange information. Exchange information means send and receive data, and these are basically of two types, internal and external nodes. Links or media, connecting media of two or more nodes. Information gets transferred through links. Media is also of two types, wired and wireless, that means guided and unguided. Guided media have physical boundary, whereas unguided media has no physical boundary. The guided media example is coaxial cable or fiber optic cable, and electromagnetic waves or radio waves are unguided media. Now, whenever data communication among heterogeneous nodes is concerned here, so there should be a set of defined rules and conventions to accomplish this task, and this set of rules is known as protocols. Connecting devices, used to connect network communication media together and acts as middleware among different computing devices such as computers or networks. Example, connectors, switches, bridges, hub, router, gateways, etc. Network softwares, very useful and essential for administrators to set up, supervise, manage and control a network. Traditional networks are developed with connecting hardware devices such as switches, routers, which are embedded with these network softwares. Some example network components are given here. We can see there are heterogeneous nodes, like it can be personal computer, can be server, switch, bridge, router, laptop, desktop and smartphones, etc. And links can be fiber optic cable and coaxial cable and wireless links, etc. Now these kind of devices are getting interconnected to form a network. Just a sample network example is given over here, where two clients are connected with a switch and another two clients are connected with the hub, and the switch and hub are connected with through a router, and the router can be connected to a remote network through WLAN link, that is a wireless LAN link. Network topology. Now what is network topology? Physical structure of a network. Whenever two nodes are connected through a link, then network is formed. And when there are two or more links are connected, then the topology is constructed. Now topology are of four types: mesh, star, bus and ring. With this help of simple diagrams, we will be familiarizing with the topologies and their characteristics, their advantages and disadvantages. Now, first topology here given is the ring topology. Nodes are connected in ring fashion. A single node is directly connected with its two immediate neighbors. In the star topology, a single node is connected directly with point-to-point link only to the central control node, that is hub. Node-to-node communication or node-to-node direct link is not here. Mesh topology, each node is directly connected with dedicated point-to-point link to every other node in the network. And in bus topology, there is a central data cable, which is a backbone here, and the nodes are connected with this backbone cable with drop lines. Now, if we try to analyze and understand the comparative study of these four types of topologies, then this table will help. Here, we can see that point-to-point link is there in all three topologies except bus, where multi-point communication takes place. And in ring, dedicated link of a single node is there with its two immediate neighbor nodes, whereas in star topology, dedicated link is from node to hub only. In mesh, dedicated link is node to node, but in bus topology, no dedicated link is there. And in ring topology, single link break can stop the functioning of the whole network, where in star topology, single link break doesn't hamper or disable the entire network communication. Same for mesh topology also, single link break only disrupts that communication, but the rest of the communication takes place normally. And in bus topology, a break in bus cable disrupts all network transmissions. Per node, two connections are there in ring, whereas in star, only one connection to the hub is there from a node. In mesh, if there are n number of nodes, then each node have n-1 number of connections with the other nodes. In bus, per node, one drop line and one tap line is there to connect with the backbone cable. Now, with that, we can have an idea that establishment cost is maximum in mesh. And as in the ring topology, one node is connected with two neighboring nodes, and hence easy fault isolation is possible. In star topology, easy fault identification isolation is possible, because only a single node failure means, or single link failure means, that local communication is not possible. Hence this topology is robust in nature. In mesh topology also, it is robust, easy fault identification and isolation is possible, and in bus topology, fault isolation is difficult. Now, whenever there is a sender and a receiver, then the communication directions is also very important. Like in simplex fashion, only sender can communicate with the receiver. That means sender can send data to receiver. That is like a one-way street. Only traffic is in one direction. Now in half duplex, sender can send data receiver, and receiver also can send data to sender, but at a time the sender will send and receiver will receive. And in full duplex, like it is a two-way traffic road, like simultaneous two-way traffic is data traffic is possible. So here sender and receiver is sharing the link, and that sharing can be based on some rule, like the link can be shared between the two for the successful communication. Now, based on coverage area or size of the network can be divided into three types: local area network, metropolitan area network, and wide area network. Now, local area network is building specific or campus specific, whereas metropolitan area network is over a city, spans over a city, and wireless area network can span over a city, over a country, and beyond a country. Here, the layered models, the network layer model and layered reference models are represented. The OSI reference model have 7 layers, and TCP/IP network model has 5 layers. We can see that first, second, third, and fourth layers are same, whereas the fifth, sixth, and seventh layers in OSI model, that is the presentation, session, and application layers, are clubbed together to form a single layer in TCP/IP layer, and that is the application layer. And in each layer is supported by different protocols to perform dedicated activities. Like in application layer, popular protocols are HTTP, Telnet, FTP, SMTP, etc. In transport layer, TCP and UDP takes care of the process-to-process delivery of data, and these can be connection oriented or connectionless. In network layer, the protocols used are Internet Protocol, Address Resolution Protocol, etc. And in data link layer, the protocol is IEEE 802.2. In physical layer, token ring, Ethernet, etc. protocols are here given as example. Now, the TCP/IP network model is simpler than the OSI reference model, and it is efficient also, and that's why it has gained its popularity and success. So here the TCP/IP layers and the functions of each layers are illustrated in detail. We can see that layers are numbered as L5, L4, L3, L2, that is layer 5 is application layer, layer 4 is transport layer, layer 3 is network layer, layer 2 is data link layer, and then the lowest one is the physical layer. And in the physical layer, the data is represented in raw bit stream. Now what is the function of physical layer mainly? Raw bit stream handling, voltage level, bit duration, communication direction, channel coding, etc. And whenever the data reaches to the data link layer, then the trailer and header is added with this data. And the main function of data link layer is error control, flow control, shared channel management, etc. And in layer 3, whenever the data reaches to layer 3, that is the network layer, the main function of network layer is source to destination data packet delivery. Along with that, switching, packetizing, addressing, routing, congestion control, etc. are the main functions. Layer 4, that is the transport layer, takes care of process-to-process delivery. And end-to-end flow control, error control, port addressing, segmentation, and reassembly are the functions of this layer. And layer 5 enables user for network access, ensures email forwarding and storage, file transfer and access, remote login, access to the World Wide Web. These 3 layers, L1, L2, L3, are together called physical support layer, and the L5, that is the application layer, is user support layer, and the transport layer takes care of the issue that data it receives from network layer is in correct form, so that it can be properly represented in application layer. Now, if sender and receiver are communicating together with each other, that is sender is sending a data to receiver, then the data may travel through intermediate nodes such as switches and routers. And in the intermediate nodes, the data travels up to maximum layer 3, that is the network layer. Otherwise, in sender and receiver, all 5 layers need to function. Like from sender end, the data from application layer comes down to transport layer, then comes down to network layer, then reaches to data link layer, then in raw bit stream it is represented in physical layer, and then from the physical layer through the intermediate nodes it reaches to the receiver node. In the receiver node, in physical layer, it is in raw bit stream, which is then wrapped up and then reaches to the data link layer, and then from the data link layer it reaches to the network layer. From network layer it reaches to the transport layer, and then it reaches to the application layer in proper format. Why layered network? Why the reference models or the network models are layered? The data communication is a complex task and it is subdivided into simpler activities. And in this layered architecture, each layer is dedicated or assigned with a particular task. Now, several advantages are there in these layered hierarchical architectures. For example, if there is any modification in a single layer, then it has minimum effect to the other layers. Modeling. Whenever we are designing a particular layer, then its functionalities and activities can be specialized as long as the interface of this layer with the others are remaining same or unaffected. Easy to understand. A very complex set of activities if divided into small set of tasks or activities, and it is easy to understand. Troubleshoot. If there is a problem, then and the problem can be layer specific and that easily be identified and the problem can be solved. Standards. Products specific to data communication tasks in each single layer may be manufactured by different vendors but with ensured interoperability. Till now, we are introduced with fundamental concepts which is associated with challenges of networking. For example, there are several driving factors that leads to these challenges. The basic building blocks we have seen already are nodes, links, etc. We have seen also the coverage area based network categorization. Now here, if I start with the size of the network, then number of nodes can vary over a wide range. Distance to be covered by a network varies, and that's why there are different type of networks like LAN, MAN and WAN. Nodes can be of type static or can be of type mobile. Links can be wired or wireless. Speed can vary also over a wide range, and that also is a challenge. Heterogeneity of both nodes and links. There are a vast range of nodes nowadays in modern networks, starting from lightweight sensors having microcontroller within it, and then smartphones, desktop computers, tablet computers, servers and cloud servers. And links are also of different capacity and different types. Mobility is now inherent in the modern network to support the ubiquitous computing, and hence the mobile nodes triggers need of mobile IP due to frequent address migration from one network to the other. And all these issues are directing towards the security vulnerabilities, threats and attacks of a computer network, which is inevitable and need to be considered. Now, some of the advanced computer networks are wireless cellular network, wireless ad hoc network or mobile ad hoc network, wireless sensor network, wireless body area network and Internet of Things. So characteristics of these advanced networks are node mobility, means the mobile nodes or the devices mostly are mobile. Heterogeneous nodes and links, like in wireless cellular network, the edge devices are connected with wireless links, and the central base station support is with the wired connection. No or minimum infrastructure support in mobile ad hoc network to be applicable in disaster management. Without any infrastructure support, this mobile ad hoc network is formed. Portability with miniaturized lightweight nodes. In Internet of Things enabled networks, mostly devices are sensor nodes and which are lightweight and portable devices. And in the advanced computer networks, where the sensor nodes are there, then intermediate local servers like laptops or smartphones are there, then with the connectivity the cloud server can be connected. So the computing is now done at edge devices as well as in the cloud end. This is a sample example of such modern network where the IoT sensors are collecting data, and that data is transferred to the edge devices such as smartphones and laptops, and through the Wi-Fi access points and using internet connection, the data is forwarded to the cloud server. Computation can be at the edge computing devices if a low latency is the requirement, or the computation can be at cloud end, and data is also stored in the cloud server for future use. This is the modern network architecture, and also of course this is a layered architecture, where physical world means the physical devices that are generating or sensing data, and that can be wearable device, environmental sensors, smart sensing devices, all that. And from there the generated data are transmitted to the communication world, and this communication world is basically comprised of the heterogeneous network, and from that communication world it is reaching to the processing information world, where there is a processing unit comprised of the cloud servers, database and control center. Means the data is going to the cloud server, then it is stored in the database, and it is also processed at the cloud server, and the generated information or extracted information is sent to the control center for further action. And here that generated or extracted information can be accessed, the decision given or the data can be accessed by the authorized entity. Who can be the authorized entities? Like in smart healthcare system, the hospital or the doctors can be the authorized entity, etc. So nowadays this smart computing and this smart application are are successfully executed with the help of the sensors, Internet of Things and cloud. Now some sample questions are included here, short answer type and multiple choice questions, which can be exercised once anyone is going through this video lecture. Some of the reading resources are given for further study who are interested in. Thank you.